Hello folks, welcome back to the Urban Rider Studio, where I have a plethora of footwear in front of me from the brand Falco. Falco are an Italian brand. They make their footwear in Europe. That's either Italy or Romania, depending on the style that you want. And talking of styles, we've got quite a variety in front of me here. Something to cater to whatever your tastes or needs may be from your footwear. And I'll also drop timestamps down below if you want to jump to a particular pair, although I'd say that all of these have their own merits, and the one on the end there is quite interesting. I'll get to that at the end of this video. Now, one of the things they pride themselves on is their fit and their comfort, and I think rightly so. So although all of these shoes have their own details and they do differ in certain areas, some feel more lightweight than others, some are a little bit tougher, for example, some more breathable, some are waterproof. There aren't really any outliers as far as comfort goes, and that's to say that broadly speaking across the range, they are very comfortable to wear, shouldn't need a lot of breaking in either, and sizing is consistent also across the whole range. So rightly so, they should pride themselves on that. Let's start with the AIRFORCE, which are the lightest and most breathable and most affordable pair of shoes I'll show you today. These have a price around £135. We have them in a black colorway. When it comes to colors and styles, you may notice new additions in the future. That is the sort of thing that companies tend to update. So keep your eyes peeled on that, but currently this one at least we have in black. We also do this in a ladies version as well, which shares the same sort of components as this. Now, when it comes to footwear, the riding season obviously can be quite broad and you can extend that for yourself. But if you're looking for a tailor-made shoe for those hot days, then obviously you'll want some breathability. And we know that ourselves when we're out shooting, you tend to get quite warm, especially if you're off the bike. Not so much when you're on it and you're riding, obviously you're getting some airflow through there. But when you're off the bike, you want some breathability. So although I have and still do wear waterproof boots through the summer, this would be a better pick for me. So you've got a lot of ventilation across this. As you can see, some breathable panels to the side there. And not having a waterproof membrane is going to be a benefit on hot days. It uses a synthetic upper with AirTech textile inserts, which is a multi-layer lining. It's obviously extremely breathable, antibacterial, and quick drying. And the fact that that is quite padded means that it's got space for the air to move around in there. So no question, this will be a really breathable and comfortable shoe. The synthetic parts around this have a soft feel to them. You have other textiles throughout this as well. Obviously a lace-up design on the front there. Really like the contrast of a white sole. It's great to go for blacked out shoes, but I think it just looks a little bit nicer to have a little bit of contrast at least on there. You've also got some fluorescent color on the eyelets as well. It's a reinforced section for the gear shifter, or at least that will be on the left side, but you can see there on this shoe. You have some reinforcement, although it is obviously light. It uses D3O in your ankles, and you can see from the outside at least, one of those cups behind there will be some D3O. So around your ankles, you have some protection. And there is a reflective section on the back as well. The AIRFORCE have the same safety rating as most of the other shoes on this table. So in case you're unfamiliar with that, the ratings are for height, abrasion resistance, impact cut resistance, and transverse rigidity. So these shoes score the higher rating in both abrasion resistance and impact cut resistance. And the last thing to mention, if we go back to comfort for a moment, is the dual compound sole. So you have a squishy, softer section in the middle and a tough and hard wearing section as well. So it's tough and hard wearing on the bottom there, and in the center will do a great job of absorbing vibrations, taking out some shock as well to make it a more comfortable shoe overall. The next boot is actually equally lightweight, but we're now into waterproof boots. So this is the Patrol 2. And I believe they do make this in other colors, but currently we have it in the brown you can see here, and they have a price of around £195. Again, this uses a synthetic upper, but it does have a different look and feel to the previous pair we just showed you. And there are some different sections across this. Obviously has a different look generally across the shoe. For example, you have this grippy section on your toes, this polyurethane section here, which on the left side, obviously you would use on the gear shifter. It's gonna make it tougher in that area, but also gonna make it a little bit grippier as well. And feel isn't something we often say when it comes to your feet on the pegs. It's more to do with the hands, but actually that's going to give you some decent feel on the pegs as well, and definitely give you some more purchase on the gear lever as you need to interact with it. It actually scores the same safety rating as well, so it has the higher level in both impact cut and abrasion resistance as we had with the previous pair. Again, they use D3O inserts in your ankles and a tough and hard wearing dual compound sole once again. And as I mentioned previously, this is fully waterproof, so it uses a high-tex waterproof membrane on the inside. The next style is called the DAGGER. These have a price of around £200. We have them in either black or brown. Again, this is a waterproof boot, but this time it is leather. I think slightly heavier feeling, slightly tougher feeling as well, although they have the same safety rating in actual fact. And the big USP, which I'll definitely come back to in a moment, is the elasticated laces on these. This one definitely looks a little bit different to the other shoes I've shown you so far. Arguably a little bit simpler in its design, fully blacked out in this version. It uses a full grain leather outer, as you can see. And it also has AirTech inserts for comfort and breathability. Some reinforcement to your toe and heel, D3O reinforcement again at your ankles, and a little bit simpler for the sole as well. Arguably, I would say slightly less flexible, therefore, than the dual compound soles we've seen so far. On the inside, this time it uses a Sympatex waterproof membrane. The USP that I previously mentioned, and when I first read it, thought, yuck, but then tried them on and went, oh my God, that's amazing, are the elasticated laces, which actually don't look like elasticated laces. They still look like regular laces. You can tuck those in and hide them out of the way if you want to, but you can still use them in the same manner. However, it makes it so much easier to get them on in the first place because you can just pull that tongue out without having to fiddle around loosening off laces. So definitely that is a feature that I appreciate on these and does make them more comfortable because of it. Our next pair are equally modern looking. These are the Chaser 2. These have a price of around £200. We have them in black. And once again, they are waterproof. Once again, they are leather, but I think they feel slightly tougher and a little bit heavier as well. With good reason though, they are a little bit tougher as a pair of shoes. These actually score level 2 across the board for safety. I'd say these are slightly more technical looking. They don't have the elasticated laces either, sadly, I have to point out, but they do have a side zip entry. So there are some little details across these. Once again, fully blacked out, so quite subtle in a way, at least in terms of the overall color. But there are just some more technical areas on these. You've got the logo on your ankle there, for example. So you have D3O reinforcement once again at your ankles. You have this reinforced section on your toe, reinforced sections on your heel. Quite a tough sole on these as well. A high grip dual compound sole this time, and a Sympatex waterproof membrane again on the inside. Definitely appreciate a side zip entry. That always makes it a little bit easier to get in your footwear in the first place. The big USP here though is the fact that it does have a higher safety rating than any of the other shoes I'll actually show you on the table today. Then let's move on to some of their more traditional, classic or heritage styles, such as the Scout that we have here. Available in either black or brown. Again, fully waterproof, also using a leather outer, and they have a price of around £190. I'd actually say despite their overall look and the category they kind of sit in, really lightweight. Actually, probably about as lightweight as the original shoes that I showed you today with the more modern look over there. So these are going to be one of the lightest waterproof boots we've got on the table. They've got a really chunky sole. I do like this style of footwear. You've got a slight rise to that sole as well and a really chunky tread pattern as well. Once again, it is dual compound, so it'll do a great job of taking out vibrations and shock absorbing. Again, as with all of these, you'll find it has D3O inserts at your ankle for reinforcement. It uses a high-tex waterproof membrane on the inside, and it has that side zip entry, which makes it a lot easier to get in and out of. You can see how high that membrane goes up on that side, for example. Obviously, you've got laces on the front there. And actually, a pull tab on the inside of the boot. I like that because it is useful, obviously, to get your footwear on in the first place. Definitely makes it easier, but I personally don't like having that there. Sometimes your trousers kind of hook up on it and it gets a bit frustrating. It's just really nice to have this that you can tuck away and get out of the way as far as the look and the function of the boot goes, but you still have a pull tab so you can actually pull that on easier. Once again, these have the same safety rating as the first shoes that I showed you, so they score the higher rating in both impact, cut, and abrasion resistance. Sticking with the leather waterproof vintage styles, we have the Ranger 2. These have a price of around £245, and we currently have these in brown. This is a classic utility looking motorcycle boot with a nice chunky sole, a little bit fancier for the sole as well, which I'll mention in a moment or two. Actually, where the safety rating is concerned with this one, this scores 1s across the board, which does surprise me. It does feel on the tougher side, but even so, that's the safety rating. It uses a full grain oil treated leather outer, a High-Tex waterproof membrane once again on the inside, with D3O reinforcement at your ankles. It is a lace-up design, but again, it has a side zip entry, making it easy to get into in the first place. And that membrane goes a little bit higher on this one. Actually, it is slightly taller, so a little bit more coverage on these. It's also got a little pouch, stash pouch on the front there, on the tongue, so you can hide the laces if you want to, which I haven't really seen before actually, which could be a useful thing if you want to go with that look. Again, we have a chunky, grippy sole with a slight raise to the heel, but this time it is a stitched sole, so it is slightly higher in quality, and you can see the multiple layers we've got going on there. And then with the last design, if we step away from waterproofing once again for a moment, we have the REDDYX available in black for £190. Quite a technical looking pair of shoes. Definitely a modern design, almost fully blacked out. You've got some contrast on the sole there. They are very lightweight feeling, very breathable. The safety rating kind of matches as well. So again, we've got ones across the board on this one. But the big USP here is the laceless design. So you have a ratchet system on the front, which I'll touch on in a moment. This uses a synthetic upper. It has some 3D mesh inserts for breathability, and again, relatively padded to allow some circulation of that air. For reinforcement, you have D3O once again at your ankles. If the breathability wasn't enough to maximize your comfort, once again, we have a dual compound sole, this time from Vibram though, as you can see with that logo down there, and Vibram are an authority when it comes to footwear, used a lot in outdoor clothing, for hiking, that sort of thing. Places where you're going to put a lot of mileage in off the bike, so obviously that is going to increase your overall comfort. And of course, we have that laceless design on the front. We have a ratchet system which you can just open like so. You pull that. If you've used similar things when you've been out, maybe skiing, snowboarding, that sort of thing with boots, adventure boots as well if you're on the bike, as we're here. With certain gloves as well, you will see ratchet systems like this. So you just pop it in place and then twist it that way and tighten it around your foot. It just makes it so much quicker and easier to get in and out of. Obviously quite a modern look though, so if you don't like this particular style, then clearly they still have lace designs, so you can go for something that looks a bit different, but the ease of use of something like this is great. So if you want to check out any of the boots that I've mentioned in this video, and there are quite a few different styles, then obviously you can follow links in the description to the Urban Rider website, and you can see size guides there if you need them. Let us know your favorite in the comment section, and I'll see you soon.